Looping tape has been around since at least the 50s and probably earlier. Avant-garde pioneers such as Karlheinz Stockhausen used many loops of audio in their compositions, which in turn inspired other artists to do so. A very notable example was the Beatles track Tomorrow Never Knows from Revolver. Like Stockhausen, these were random sounds spliced together and brought in and out of the mix on a fader. The technique to achieve this used the standard reel-to-reel tape recorder, and as the length could be quite long, you needed something for the tape to go around at distance, which was normally a mic stand, or several if it was really long. It is true that by the 70s, drum machines were starting to be used, most notably on tracks like Sly and the Family Stone's Family Affair. And Popcorn by Gershon Kingsley. Robin Gibb also used a drum machine, the same Maestro Rhythm King, in his solo record Saved by the Bell. But it was some years later in 1977 that the first use of a commercial drum loop was heard. It was the Bee Gees, and the track was Stayin Alive, a song from the film Saturday Night Fever. It was crafted by Albie Galutin and Carl Richardson and came about initially from necessity. The band's drummer, Dennis Bryan, left the recording session from the album early due to the death of his mother, so they began looking for a replacement. Although a shortage of qualified drummers in the area prompted the group to try a drum machine. They weren't really happy with the sound and feel of the drum machine, so after listening to the acoustic drum track they'd already recorded for Night Fever, the group and the producer took 2 bars from this track and recorded them onto a 2-track analog tape. Due to its approximately 30-foot length, the loop was extended to a 7-inch plastic reel for stability, suspended over a microphone stand's arm before looping back to the take-up reel. This created the constant, unwavering driving rhythm for the song, giving it a real distinct feel, which was perfect for the discos. The group jokingly listed the drummer as Bernard Loop on the credits. A spoof on session drummer Bernard Purdie, Loop actually became a highly sought-after drummer, until it was discovered that he didn't actually exist. This identical loop was later used on the Bee Gees' More Than a Woman, also featured on the Saturday Night Fever soundtrack. The same loop, albeit slowed down quite a bit, was used in Barbra Streisand's recording of Woman in Love, also produced by Galutin, Richardson and Barry Gibb. Jeff Porcaro of the band Toto picked up this technique from Galutin and Gibb when he collaborated with them on a Bee Gees project. Porcaro then applied this technique back in California, using the method to create the drum loop, serving as the foundation for Toto's Africa. Precise drum patterns became more and more commonplace after this, with the further use of drum machines through the 80s in hip-hop and dance music. The advent of affordable sampling saw a huge rise in the use of drum loops in production, as it became a much simpler process than having yards of tape flying around a control room. I think it's almost impossible to count how many times Clyde Stubblefield's drum break from the James Brown track Funky Drummer was used during that early period. Of course, drum loops are the done thing now, and metronomic precision is commonplace in just about every modern recording. But back then, it would have been a revolution to hear that consistency, whereas now, a slight bit of before and after the beat and it sounds almost jarring. It looks like the loop is here to stay, and it's definitely easier than learning to actually play the drums, that's for sure.